right, folks, what is going on? This is a milestone, episode 800. We are at 800 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football, and it has been a tale of two very different dynamics when it comes to the Georgia Southern Eagles and the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to talk about both teams, what they did this weekend, and how things should be looking going forward. A little bit of disappointment here, a little bit of optimism there for both teams. We're going to talk about this and give you my thoughts and opinions. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I could be found on YouTube. I am on Rumble. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Apple Podcasts. I'm also on YouTube Podcasts. Find me anywhere and everywhere. Follow me on X at VF Baller. I'm also on, no, I'm not on there anymore. Never mind. Most of the time you'll just find me on X if you want to interact with me. Also, if you want to leave any comments down in the comment section, I actually respond to those as soon as possible. I get the notification when you do make a comment or a reply, whatever the case may be, and I will definitely respond if need be. So let me know what you guys think about this content. Let me know what you think about this podcast. Let me know what you think about these two teams. So let's get right into this. We're going to talk about the Georgia Southern Eagles first before I get into the Atlanta Falcons, because there's a lot to talk about on both sides. But I want to talk about the Georgia Southern Eagles because I will tell you guys this. These first two games that Georgia Southern has put together when it came to Boise State playing against Nevada, I gotta say that whatever Coach Clay Helton is trying to sell, he's actually, it's actually worth the product. He is selling a product that actually works. Even when you went to Boise, when we played against Boise State, we ended up losing that game, but it was a tough, hard-fought battle. Could have had a chance to win that game, and unfortunately, we fell short. We go across the country to Nevada, and playing against a team that is very tough, and I will say this, I think that team is actually a little bit more tougher than the Boise State team collectively, because they got a running back at Boise State that's good. I mean, the dude's going to be playing on Sundays. But Nevada as a whole, that entire team, everybody like they're ready to scrap, and they're not taking nothing when you bring it to them. And we was able to find ways, take the opportunities, force a fumble, make things happen to stop these guys to win the football game. And when you look at games like that, Coach Clay Helton, what can you say about him? He put it all together. He put it together. He got this team on a path that actually can win a lot of games if they keep up the way that they're keeping up. Now, I think the defense do need to do a little bit better of tackling, even though they much improved from game one to game two. But I think these guys are standing on business, and they're making things happen when it comes to trying to win football games. Valiant effort for the first game, go into a hostile territory across the country and win against Nevada. Look, they're going against South Carolina State next, and then they play Ole Miss. I'm not putting nothing past this team. I'm not saying that they're going to be winning the next 5 or 6 games, but they're putting out heart and effort to say, like, look, you just saw what Northern Illinois did. You see what I'm saying? You saw them just beat Notre Dame. You kind of seen, you saw what other teams have done, push other teams to the limit to almost win, against high-powered opponents. So if Georgia Southern could just limit turnovers, that's basically what it is at the end of the day. If Georgia Southern can limit turnovers and get some drives and get some points off the drives, it can either be a shootout or we can win the game. And it seemed like in this instance, we were able to find a way to win because we limited ourselves in giving the ball back to the other team. And also we were able to find ways to get the ball away from the team. Shout out to Coach Clay Helton. Phenomenal job what he's done here. He actually, got this team in the right direction. And I cannot say that I'm not going to say that this is a different team from last year. I mean, quarterback players definitely, but you actually see the vision at this point with Coach Clay Helton, what he's trying to do, because these last 2 games, you can't do nothing but sit back and be like, okay, I see what he's trying to do here. Boise State was a very good team, and some people actually had us not winning against Nevada, and we end up winning that game anyway. That all that just goes back to great coaching at the end of the day. These guys were able to fix the wrongs from game 1 and make things happen in game 2, and you saw the result. And I think it's all about with the coaching staff. And I do feel like the defense needs to do a little bit better. I cannot say that everything is peaches and cream, but the defense has to do better. But overall, what we've seen in these first two games, you honestly can't ask for nothing better. You know, I mean, I honestly, I thought at some point we could possibly be running into a 1-3 situation going after these first four games. But looking at it now, 2-2 looks pretty good. You know, and I'm not saying that we're going to beat Ole Miss or whatever, because I don't think that as of right now, I don't think that's going to happen at all. But you got a good chance if you just play the football the right way. You can't get beat. You can't beat yourself. And I think that Coach Clay Helton kind of got this offense, at least the offense, he got them in a situation where they're not going to put the team in danger of losing the game. And I think that's one of the things that the Georgia Southern Eagles has been having a problem with for the past 2 years. Now, kudos to Coach Clay Helton. Let's jump over to the Falcons, because before we get out of here, we got to talk about what happened. I went to the game. Matter of fact, I just got back from the game probably about a couple of, maybe 2 or 3 hours ago. And I watched the Atlanta Falcons lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, these guys here, they didn't stand on business. They didn't do what they were supposed to do offensively. Defensively, I like what I saw here. It's kind of like the opposite of what Georgia Southern's doing. Defensively, they played a lights out game. And the defense, I don't think the defense need more work than what Georgia Southern does. Georgia Southern's played better, but I don't think they need a little bit more work. The defense of the Atlanta Falcons are fine. They gave up 6 field goals, and I think 3 of them was from like 45 or 48 yards, further or deeper. So they didn't give up red zone, field goals. I mean, these guys had to work for at least 9 of those 18 points. I mean, 50-yard field goals aren't an easy thing to do. So the defense did fine. This offense, I understand this is the first game, whatever the case may be, but you guys want to know something, to be honest? This is a preseason game. This was a preseason game for the offense. It sure did act like it. And this is a problem when you don't get many reps in the preseason. I know a lot of people said that they were going to be fine. It was going to be cool. Maybe it wouldn't have made a difference if they did play in the preseason. But we were sold, as of right now, we were sold a bad bill of goods, because Coach Raheem Morris went out there and smiled and was so happy to be, the coach. And I still stand by him. I think it feels right for him to be the coach. I think he's deserved it. I think he paid his dues. But I think he kind of oversold and definitely underperformed, because I understand you don't want to put Penix out there after, one game or whatever the case may be. You don't want to put Kirk Cousins out there at all. He's injured. Most of the guys that are on the first, first depth chart team depth chart, I think I said that right, first team depth chart. When you put those guys out, you don't put those guys out there, you start to see what's going on when they actually get to play. Like I said, the defense did what they're supposed to do. They didn't give up a touchdown this entire game. When you don't give up touchdowns, you usually win the game. And I think this is the problem, because the offense was not able to, get anything outside of that one throw to Kyle Pitts for a touchdown. Younghoe Koo did get a field goal for 3. I think that was after the first drive. But this team, this offense, the talent level, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm starting to think differently about this. But the talent level on this team is way too good just to be putting up 10 points. This team looked very similar to what we had last year with Arthur Smith. Stretch runs, short passes, not as aggressive, very conservative, not much of the trickery on the trick plays, but you saw a lot of what we saw last year. You saw a lot what we seen the year before. You kind of saw a lot what we seen the year before that. Kirk Cousins was in the pistol. I think Kirk Cousins don't do well in the pistol. I don't remember him ever seeing him in the pistol offense. Neither here nor there does that make a difference with some of the decision-making that he's done passing the ball, because he could have 4 picks today. And speaking of picks, he looked very reminiscent of Desmond Ridder, man, without the mobility. He looked a lot like Marcus Mariota without the mobility. Some of those passes look like stuff that we saw from the last couple of quarterbacks. So this is what needs to happen. They need to fine-tune something for the next game, because you're about to play the Eagles in Philadelphia. You go into that stadium with this type of offense, you're going to lose by 30. You're going to lose by 25. So they're going to have to do something to fix that, because you just can't have this type of offense. Get the kinks out, fix some things. They should be okay. I'm believing they should be okay, but I am not against anybody. I'm not against anybody who have some concerns at this point. That is very fair to have some concerns about what's going on here, because Raheem Morris, for all intents and purposes, I love him as a coach. I think he's done a very good job. He's paid his dues, but I think he outsmarted himself thinking that this first team was ready. And also, you had some of these top rookies that we thought that was going to be pretty good. Some of them wasn't even playing. Ruka Rororo was not even dressed. I think Brandon Dorless was not even dressed. Those guys, not necessarily saying that the defense needed them, but you want to see the guys that you drafted. You want to see those guys getting in the trenches, getting ready. Let's go. Casey Washington, didn't see much of him when I thought maybe he could have done something if you put him out there with the offense. I just don't know. But it just seems like he was extremely conservative with the offense, him and Zach Robinson. And Kirk Cousins, being the veteran that he is, it just seemed like he didn't even try to make things different. I think he just went along with the game plan, which for the most part you're supposed to anyway. But there was no improvising. I didn't see much of an audible. I didn't see much of a change-up. It just seemed like they just ran the plays that was given to them, which I guess that's what you do mostly. I see a lot of elite quarterbacks change plays from time to time. I know that's a big debate. I'm not going to get into that, but I just feel like everything was just so vanilla and so predictable and so simple. It was like to the point where they kind of knew what they were doing, especially at the end of the game or in the second quarter, where it felt like they had to throw the ball more, and TJ Watt and them just started teeing off on Kirk Cousins, and he can't move that much anyway. And you saw what you got there. I feel at this moment, I think Georgia Southern has a chance to do a lot of things, but I do feel like the Atlanta Falcons could be in trouble by week 4, week 5. And does that mean that's the end of the season? No, it doesn't. But you don't want to be in that position regardless. You don't want to put yourself out there. One thing that's luckily for the Georgia Southern Eagles, they still haven't played any conference games, and I think that works very well in their favor, because you're seeing what all the other conference players or the other conference teams are doing, and to be quite honest, they don't look as strong as they were the last couple of years. The Sun Belt Conference is a conference that you don't want to play around with, but overall, they don't look as strong. It looked like a lot of teams took a step back. So at the end of the day, they should be okay. As far as the Falcons, look, man, I don't know. I don't know. It's tough to call it. You're looking at a coach here that can get it done. You're looking at a team here that can get it done. You're looking at his coordinators that can get it done. But you can't go back out there with this same type of same type of play on offense. I think the defense is fine. They didn't give up a touchdown. If you can give up maybe one touchdown a game, you're probably going to be fine. But for them to give up 0, that's on the offense. The offense got to do a little bit better. Hopefully they'll be able to do so. So let me know what you guys think. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. What do you think about the Georgia Southern Eagles, man? They look like they could be going to the Ole Miss with a winning record, or they could at least walk out of the Ole Miss at the very least, 2-2. I don't expect them to be 3-1 against Ole Miss. Most stranger things have happened, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. I'm going to be quite honest. I just don't know. But I like their chances. I like the direction Coach Clay Helton is going in. He looks like he's going to have this team ready, especially for conference play. As far as the Falcons go, yeah, it's just one game. But at the same time, that was a bad one game, especially for the offense. It has to get better because the competition is getting stiff. Eagles, Chiefs, and the Saints always play us tough. Even at home, that doesn't mean much. The Saints always play us tough. Maybe we can, have that type of energy that we had when we played them at home last year, and, we'll walk away with a victory. But still, 1-3, that's still kind of a deep hole to get into. Maybe we can get a win between the Eagles or the Chiefs. Hey, maybe we could beat both. Even though the Chiefs coming to us, we got a chance. We just got to get the offense rolling. But I'm going to get up out of here, y'all. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Spotify, Apple, YouTube podcast, Rumble. Find me on all those places. And follow me on X. I really appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace.